chances are big. You look at children and young people as cute, happy creatures that like to play. And you're right, because children are cute. Sometimes they're really annoying as well, but don't say that aloud. But there's so much more than that, because children, they can be so interesting, they can be so inspiring, they can be so creative, so positive, and we can learn from them. And I think here we all agree on that. But then the question is, why is it that we as parents, we as teachers, we treat children in a different way? A lot of times we treat children as secondary citizens. And why is that? That's what I want to exchange some thoughts about. Because when I travel the world and I speak to children, not only in the Netherlands, but also in South America, in Africa, in the Middle East, children say adults don't take us seriously. Adults don't really listen to us. And it worries me. And I will show you a short story that we made in Lebanon with refugees from Syria. These girls, for example, they were there. And this is what they had to tell.
ونشتغل بدل من الدورة نوبات تعبانين وما يخلونا نرتاح نخليه يرتاح نص ساعة و10 دقائق.
اشتغلت ببرد التيرات، بالتمديدات الصحية، بالأرجيل، بالقهوة، بالأحذية، بالتياب. يلا عربات يلا.
يقتلونا بالخرطوم الوقافين، يقتلوا الخرطوم يقتلونا هنا يضربونا كفونا يحكوا علينا. ما أحب أشتغل هون، ما أحب أشتغل منوب هون. طبت علبت نفسي، صار لي سنة ونص طبت نفسي.
خلونا الساعة 12 بالليل نشتغل بالهنقا.
لا للوحدة ل2 بالليل، وخلونا نعرب من دورة، خلونا شمام، ما نظل للوحدة ل2، نوبة ل3 وأنا أظل أنام بالهنقا.
How do you feel about telling your story?
فرحت كتير اليوم، انبسطت معكم كتير، ومو بس تعملوا معي هاي المقابلة، عملوا مع كتير ناس، مو بس أنا، إنه كتير ناس بدها هاي المقابلة.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
وأتمنى أرجع لسوريا أظل مبسوطة مثل الأول، هيك كنا عايشين كتير حلوين.
حياتي يلا هم شوي
يقولوا أطفال ما قولهم أطفال ما يشتغلوا.
A lot of times when we read the newspapers, when we see the headlines, a lot of times you see the children, but hardly ever do they really tell their story or give their opinions themselves. And in Holland, I used to be working for a special program called the Children's News. And I used to be a reporter there and a presenter. And that's when I saw that a lot of times the news is about children, but we don't hear their voices themselves. For example, I covered the, how's it called? The Arabic Spring. You remember in Egypt when all the people were on the square protesting, and those are moments that the whole world press gets together and everyone is covering the same news, and everyone was showing the children sitting on the back of the parents or the uncles or and everyone was showing the children with the flags and the protest thingies, but no one was asking them, all right, why are you here? What are you doing here? How do you feel about what's happening in your country right now? And what do you think about your future? How do you see your future? And that's really relevant because yeah, they are young, but they are the future, and how they think about how things have to be in their future, at least they should have a say about it or talk about it. And then you work at a news station, at the national television, and you see all the images coming in, and no one is asking the children a question. So that didn't feel right for me. So I went to my boss and I asked him, like, all right, what can we do about that? And he said, make a plan. So that's where the plan came from, like, all right, can't we teach other journalists how to speak with young people? Because most of the time they just ask a quick question, like, all right, oh, where's the microphone? Here's the microphone. They just ask a question like that. Usually like that, very, very, do you like being here?
Yes.
And say like, all right, that's the question, that's the answer, so that's not much, so it's not very useful. But it's only because most journalists don't have the time and don't have the knowledge about how to properly speak with young people. So I came up with the plan, and my boss said, great plan, we're not going to do it. Because it's not our priority as a news program, as a news station, to give a voice to young people around the world. And we don't have the money. So that was it. So what could I do? I just kept doing my job, but it still didn't feel right. And then why is it that we have to listen to young people and to children? I always give the example of my one hand. You probably all saw that I have a long arm and a short arm. Yeah. Ooh, you're paying attention. Nice. I say to children, like, all right, I'm born like that. And most children are born with two hands. But I was born with one. And the reaction of most adults is, ah. You want to do the ah? Yeah? 1, 2, 3? Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry, yeah. But that's what most adults say. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. It must be really difficult. You must have a lot of trouble. Can you drive a car? And how do you do it with your job? And isn't it difficult because the children, they must be asking about it all the time? And that's how adults mostly react. If they react, because a lot of times they just talk about it behind my back. They say, have you seen that? Did you see that? And that's a very adult way of handling, because it's not to be bad, but they think it's not polite to ask something or to say something about it, or that's the way. Children, on the other hand, if I come into a class, first question is, hey, what happened to your arm? And they say, well, I was born, oh, and can I see it, and can I touch it? And oh, there's this little hand with these tiny little fingers, cool. And can you put a robot arm on it, like the 3D printed? That's how children look at it. See the difference? Children are far more positive, far more creative, far more, they speak from the heart. While adults are more careful, they look at the negative way, they look at the problems, at the things that could not be. So that's if we put the voice of children into our discussions and into our, you get a different vibration and different ideas. And it's not that children are always right. and it's not that they are like heroes. Sometimes organizations or people, yeah, we got a winner! Say hi, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Hi! Yeah. There was one big red hat leaving the nice. If everyone else has the phone on, keep it on. We like that. Yeah. No, if we put that voice into what's happening in the world, things will change. And that's sometimes I say, like, all right, that's why we adults are handicapped, because our minds are far more narrow than the minds of young people. A lot of companies, they give like these courses for the people to think outside the box. And children, they're not even in a box. They don't have a box. They don't see a box. They just go everywhere with them with their minds. And it's so interesting to take that into account and to at least listen to that. Let me see. Why should we listen to children? Is a question a lot of adults ask me. Why should we listen to children? Sounds like a logical question. A lot of adults say, like, all right, yeah, but we are the adults. We have the experience, we have the knowledge, we went to college, we are grown-ups, so we should know, and we have to teach our children, and we have to tell our children what to do and what not to do, and what's good for them and what's not good for them. So we have to send, and we have to protect them, and that's our mindset. But still the question, why do we have to listen to children? Why do we have to listen to women? Why do we have to listen to Catholics, to Muslims, to dark-skinned people? If you put in any other group of people in that question, it feels like discrimination. But still, if you ask the question, why should we listen to children? It's okay. In my opinion, it really is discrimination. And we're discriminating that really important group of our society. And that's exactly why we should listen to them, because they are part of our society. They're a really important part of our society. And that's why we have to take their voice and their opinions and their views into account. Careful. The child's voice is making a difference, and let me see. Oh, this was for my job in the Netherlands for the children's news. No. Cancel this one. I always give the example of this girl. There are so many stories about World War II. And there's only one story, the most famous of them all. And that's the story of this 13-year-old girl from Amsterdam. And if the story of this girl can make a difference, then why can't the story of all these other girls and boys and all these other children? An unwritten rule for journalists is we leave children alone. It's the child protection and the privacy law, and so we leave children alone. So it's okay to show them everywhere and to film them, but it's not okay to ask them a question. And that's what I teach journalists, like, all right, if you show them, it should be right to ask them a question as well. A lot of times when you look at the news, they make a report about school or about college, and they film in school, and then they speak to the teacher or the headmaster, and they go to the minister, and they go to a school researcher. But why wouldn't you speak to the children, to the kids who are in school and who know how things work there, and who probably know as well how things could be better? In what way do children look differently? If I would ask you, if you could change one thing of your body, one thing, what would you change? Think about one thing that you would like to change. I'm not going to ask you, because most of the time we are thinking about, all right, I would change my ears, I would change my nose, I would change this or that or that. That's what we think about. If you ask it to children, and especially young children, if you say like, all right, if you would change one thing about your body, what is it that you would change? They say like, I can change anything I want. You already feel it going, right? Can change anything. Oh, I want wings. Yeah. I want to spit fire like a dragon. Yeah. All right. You see, we don't even think about that anymore, and that's how children can inspire us. What I do now as well, I work not only as a journalist, we also get a lot of organizations coming to us and saying like, all right, we want to speak to children, but can you help us with that? So what we do, we bring in children to organizations and imagine a boardroom full of people with ties and, well, you know them, the bit of gray hair, glasses, and stuff like that. And they sit down, and you get a group of children sitting with them. And one time we had this big company. It was Shell, the oil company. And the children were sitting there with the board, and they were discussing like the CEO. He was explaining to the children. Shell is a Dutch company. Sorry about that. And he was explaining to the children like, all right, yeah, we have to make profit, and the more profit we make, the happier our stakeholders are. And the more we can pay the people who are working for us. So we have to make as much money as possible, and the more money we make, the happier everyone is. And he was really proud of himself explaining like that to the children. And then one boy said, all right, but if you have to make more money all the time, when is it enough? And that's where he was, with his explanation. And he could not answer the question. And it really went to the boardroom, and they discussed this question, because this is what it's all about. And those questions, children really can open our eyes and make us realize the things we are doing. And it's not only in the boardroom, and it's not only those children in Lebanon, but it's also your children in your kitchen room. We often take decisions for them. We say, like, no, this is better, so you do it like that. All right, but that's from your point of view. That's your way of thinking, and if you put into account, if you say like, all right, my idea is we do it like this, or do you have another idea? And by discussing it on the same level with our children, it gets really dark here, by the way, then you get their thoughts into account as well, and you teach them how to express their thoughts, how to express their feeling. If we take the decisions for them now all the time, how do they have to do it when they grow up? So if they get taught that now in a small way, in a small version, then later on it will bring them much, much more. I will give you another example I really like. This child was really proud of this drawing. Huh? Yeah, no, it's okay, it's okay. You can leave. I will get this one off. And why I really like this, because the boy was really proud of drawing the scissors. And that's the wrong perspective you old dirty minds get. We are so, because we are adults, we look at things in a different way, huh? Yeah. So, you are going to remember this one, yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah. I will get it off, So, no, these are all examples, of how it works. Another, I'll give one more. When was the last time you did something new? When you did something for the first time? Think about it. And I give the example, I've been to Dublin before, but when you come to a new city for the first time, and it doesn't matter if it's Amsterdam or New York, or when you come there, you see everything. And you see the buildings, and you hear all the noises, and you smell everything, and you're like, wow, what's going on? You remember that feeling, yeah? And that's exactly the feeling how children walk in the world. Because for them, everything is new. Getting in the train for the first time, getting in the... And they really get all the vibes. They are much more open, so they see much more, and that's why they look at the world from a different perspective. Not only because they are smaller, because if you do like this, you're smaller, so you look up to everything. But mostly because they're so open-minded, and that's what we can learn so much from. And we put so much effort in our children, and we want to give them the best, and we want to, we do everything for them. So we can ask something back from them as well. We can ask their opinion, we can ask their thoughts, and we can get better from that ourselves. This picture, by the way, is taken 2 years ago. Because, as I said, it really didn't feel right working for an organization, for the children's news, and not being able to give the voice to those children in those places that are really important. And there was a funeral, I think it was 2014? Yeah, I think it was, no, 2013. It was the funeral of Nelson Mandela. He died. And Nelson Mandela was one of the people that knew that the voice of young people is so important. So he always put children forward. That was one of the media circuses. So I went to my boss again and I said, like, all right, this is something really important we should cover, and we should have children have their say about Mandela and about the funeral and about South Africa and things that are going on there now. And my boss said, no, we don't have the budget to send you there, because we already have 3 other reporters for the adult news and for the radio news from our organization that are going there, so we don't have money to send you there as well. So that was not possible. And I knew that all the other press agencies that were going there, like Reuters and AP, and they're all going there, they're not going to ask their children a question. So what I did, I said, all right, then I want a holiday. So I took a week holiday, I hired a cameraman, and we went to South Africa. and as a freelancer, I sold the reports we made to my own company. Which is a construction that's not really right, but in the end, we were there and we were speaking to the children, and there were other reporters coming to us and saying like, all right, can we speak to your children as well? And then you have the Chinese television, and there was nothing coming out of the children. And there was this one little boy, and he was called Vuyo, and he was there with his father because his father was working for the South African television. He said, oh, come, I have to show you this, and you have to see that, and it's so exciting to be here. I said, it's a funeral. Yeah, but still. It's a... And he showed me around. And then I remember the moment we were standing on this hill, and there were helicopters everywhere, and Obama was coming, and there was this tent, this white tent, where they had the funeral. And I was standing there with Vuyo, and Vuyo said, I think it's so cool that you are listening to us and to the children that are living here in this village. Because there are all these journalists here, and there is not one journalist listening to the children. So thank you for that. And when I realized what he said, that was sometime after, I realized, yeah, he's right. I'm doing my job, and for me it feels natural and it's logical, but there's not one correspondent in the world speaking for children. And that's when I went to my boss and I said, I quit. So I quit my job and I started to work as the first children's correspondent, youth correspondent, to make sure that in events like this, the voice of young people is heard. And it's really a difficult struggle to get there, far more difficult than I expected. But we're getting there, and the big dream of our foundation is to have one children's correspondent, one youth correspondent in every country. And I'm doing it now in the Netherlands, and sometimes we go abroad if we have the money or the funds. And but it would be so amazing if every country, like you have the ombudsman here as well, the children's ombudsman. And I'm working a lot with the Dutch children's ombudsman as well. If there would be like a children's correspondent in every country as well, who make sure like that their stories get into the media. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm seeing here, but I already kind of told that. Yeah, about the honesty of children and how they can be eye-opening. I will show a small video about that. I will tell about this one first because 2 years ago, when I quit my job, we threw a gala with all the children's organizations working in the Netherlands. For example, UNICEF. For example, Save the Children, War Child, the Children's Ombudsman, the Mayor of Amsterdam. This is the former Mayor of Amsterdam. They all signed a contract. And I brought you a contract as well. So if you like, afterward, I will sign it for you. And it's a contract that children came up with. Because I working with children, I also have my children's advisory board. And I asked them, like, all right, what would you like to have, or what could I do for you more that your voice is being heard more? And they said, it would be so great if we could have a contract with our adults, with our teacher, that was the first one, but maybe also with parents, where they promise that if we say something and if we want to say something, that they listen to us. So if there is a moment when they're too busy again, or when we can say, hey, we've got the contract, you have to listen to us. And in the contract is it says young people look at the world from a different perspective than adults. Their voices are important. We listen to the views, opinions, and questions of children and teenagers, take them seriously, and let them tell their stories. So first of all, we let young people tell their stories. We listen thoroughly. Is that right? Thoroughly. We listen thoroughly. We pose serious questions. We do not interrupt, because that's what we're really good at as adults. Like when children they don't have our vocabulary. So if they start speaking, they sometimes have to think about, all right, how do I express my feelings? And those are really important moments. And if we start finishing their sentences, then you screw it all up. So just shut up and listen and have them express their own feelings. Have them get their thoughts in line, because they learn from that. If they do that, they really learn from that. And if you fill it in for them, then they don't learn from it. So don't interrupt, and consider the views and opinions of children when decisions are made. So if you make a decision for children, you say like, all right, what do you think about it? Do you have something to say about it? All right. So that's the contract we signed with all the organizations. That's, by the way, the Princes of Orange. And they all signed it, and they all are behind the contract and behind the idea. I will wrap up, because more than half of the world's population is under 25 years old. And that half of our world, of everyone, is not being really listened to, is not being taken really seriously. That's a lot of people. And we can change that in our own community, in our own household, in our own. And if everyone would do that, I really think and I know that the world will look a bit better, and the world would be a better place. So that's my question just to you. Listen to the children and realize that their voice really makes a difference.